Hello, and welcome to the Resume Ready podcast. My name is Brian Schneider, and one of the tools I've created to help people write stronger resumes is a free 2-part infographic called Resume Ready, the links to which can be found in the show notes. The first infographic presents a framework for resume writing, and the second infographic is more detailed and provides guidance regarding specific resume sections. Today's episode focuses on the seventh concept of the Resume Ready Part 1 infographic and is called Your Story. First, though, I want to tell you that today's episode is sponsored by my friends at Bradley Garrett Salon on Brookhaven Circle. In addition to regular haircuts and trims, the stylists at Bradley Garrett can do color, highlights, and even keratin smoothing treatments. When you're there, you're going to feel relaxed, comfortable, and your self-esteem is going to get a huge boost. My family and our friends' families have gone to Bradley Garrett for years because the stylists know how to make you look and feel great. The next time you need a trim or style, you should check out Bradley Garrett Salon on Brookhaven Circle. You can find a link to Bradley Garrett's Instagram profile in the show notes. Now on to the podcast. Your Story. Years ago, I came across one of the most meaningful books I've ever read by Craig Wortman called What's Your Story? The book itself focuses on the power of storytelling to help ignite performance in an organization. And Craig also covers several ways we can both record our own stories and share them at the right time, with many examples included. I'm not sure about your family, but in our family, stories are powerful ways for the middle and older generations to share nostalgic events and fun times from days gone by with kids from the younger generations. Many would say there's an art to telling stories, and that as you grow up, hearing these stories again and again both reinforces the ability to tell a good story and carries forward rich family traditions. Stories can also be powerful methods of communicating and help provide context, color, feeling, and meaning based on previous achievements with former employers. Another way to put it is that stories can help paint a magnificent picture of who we are, what we've achieved, and where we've been. Your story is important during the entire job search process, but your resume is a key introduction to it. Your resume serves as a written version of part of your story. You want to tell that story to those who read your resume in a way that entices the reader to want to learn more about you by inviting you for an interview. There are two aspects of your story I want to discuss in today's episode. First, know your story. And second, how you can tell part of your story on your resume. First, it's really important for you to know your story. Your story is comprised of places you've worked, people you've met, and achievements you've helped realize at former employers. When I work with others on telling their story, I get them to think about chapters of their lives and how they winsomely transition from one chapter to the next. Your story needs to first and foremost be an overall positive one, conveying beneficial transitions based on opportunities and promotions and such. You can also include lessons learned during an interview if the right opportunity presents itself. Be sure to spend time writing out how you went from college into your first job and a little you learned in that job. Then tell how you transitioned from your first job to your second job and a little about that job, and continue this pattern until the present day. You can focus on the company for which you worked, what you did there, and how you moved from job X to job Y. Feel free to include in your written story some key people who helped you with connections and how you benefited from their help. By writing this out, you will be better prepared to tell your story in person and in writing on your resume. The second aspect I would like to discuss today related to your story is how you tell your story on your resume and what this means exactly. For a moment, I want you to think again like you're an employer or the hiring manager reading your resume. As a candidate, you have an opportunity through your resume to tell the reader about who you are, where you've been, and what you've accomplished. You provide this information and tell your story through the various sections on your resume. The contact information tells the reader your name and provides a link to your LinkedIn profile where the reader can learn more about you. The professional summary tells why you're passionate about the position for which you're applying. Your core competencies describe your aptitudes and proficiencies. Your experience tells where you've worked and what you helped achieve in the respective positions. Your education tells where you studied, what degree you received, and an indication of what you learned in school. And the extra section at the bottom tells the reader some unique skills you have, what leadership roles you've held, and how you may have served the community through all forms of volunteerism. Try and think of the resume sections as pieces of a wonderful picture, and your resume is going to help piece the picture together for the reader so he or she feels great about your ability to fill the vacancy. Why it matters. Knowing your story and how to tell it on your resume matters because the resume is often the first impression someone will have of you, and you want to take every opportunity to tell a great story by developing a strong resume. By piecing together strong sections of your resume to create a wonderful image, you'll give yourself a competitive advantage so you can win the interview. Hey everyone, thanks for listening. For more information on the topics covered in today's episode and many others, please check out the articles on my LinkedIn profile, a link to which can be found in the show notes. If you feel today's episode was helpful, please consider sharing it with a friend and subscribing to the show. Tune in to Resume Ready next time when I'll be discussing the first concept on the Resume Ready Infographic Part 2 called Contact Information.